Morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Hey, you got Joanne.
Good
Oh, we got
morning.
Tammy today too. Good to see you. Thanks for coming, everybody. And we want to say hi to our YouTube audience and thank them for joining us this morning in the sacred energy of Circle. And today you're going to be able to watch our evidential mediums as they connect with people who have crossed over to the other side and deliver messages from those people. And our hope is that by watching our mediums at work, you'll come to understand that the loved ones that you may have lost are in fact still with you. So we're going to ask you to join us as we open with a prayer. Holy Father, Mother God, thank you for allowing us to come together today in service of spirit. Please help us to open all of our senses, physical and spiritual, so that we can receive your messages without interference from our own minds. We humbly ask that you make this circle an uplifting and joyous experience for everyone in attendance. Please ask the spirits who recognize the voices in this room to join us this morning so that we will know that they watch over us, love us, and protect us still. And please allow us to deliver the information presented by Spirit with grace and compassion, in complete trust and respect of your infinite wisdom. Amen. All right, and we have a nice small group today. So how about, do you want to do like 12-minute readings and then we can each weigh in on everybody's readings? That sound good to everybody?
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay.
Sure.
All right. Sounds good. And whenever anybody gets a link, just go ahead, pop on in there. Okay.
Okay. I'm just gonna, I just have this. It's interesting. I have a designer like a handbag or scarf that's coming through first and foremost. That's what I have. It's
Okay.
Saint mm, Saint. I'm not up with my designer. But this person is coming in would wear designer clothing. That's what I'm assuming because they're bringing a designer to me, and it's like a really Hermes, like a Hermes, like
Yeah.
designer, expensive designer. I feel like I'm with you, Tamara, but I have like expensive designer scarf, handbag. I see a handbag with a scarf tied around it. Would you understand that just with that alone? And I'm going to dive into it. Even
Um,
if you understand high-end handbag, um, that's what they're giving me. And I can even see like a designer scarf sort of tied around it. That's what I have.
I can understand a high-end handbag and scarves.
Oh, separately? Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Thank you. This person wants to is showing me that okay. And okay, just for the audience live streaming, we connect with one another, and I'm always asking for spirit to bring forth new evidence. And it's interesting is it's sometimes it's the same person, but they're not coming forward just yet because they're sharing information because I don't want to get in my head. So this person is sharing that like they always dress elegantly. Would you understand this around this person?
Uh,
And
it could be two
and
people. Yeah,
two people. Okay.
could
So
be two.
first and foremost, the proper etiquette. Tammy, can I work with you?
Oh, yes.
I didn't even address that part. So, thank you. And this person, beautiful, elegant, tall. I feel like even they even modeled at one point, traveled a lot, did social gatherings. That's what she's telling me. She traveled in the upper entourage. I mean, that's what I'm getting. And I don't even say it properly because I don't. And would you understand that, Tammy, around this person? I feel
Um,
that I don't know if she was part of them, but she was around them a lot. That's the feeling I'm getting. And it's almost like uh she was a stewardess or something like that. Would you understand that? Like there's a lot of airplane travel with this person, but I almost feel like she was around all these people and had influence on them, or they had influence on her. Like she was in and out, like a part of that group. Would you understand that?
I understand that for someone who's living,
Oh, okay, okay,
but
okay.
maybe that somebody in spirit may be just describing.
That person?
Yeah,
Okay, thank you. I don't want to. And I always want, I don't know, she's just sticking on that part of always dressing really well. And when she walked in to the room, uh, people would notice her. She was beautiful, tall, slender, just, typical gorgeous woman, not typical, but gorgeous woman who would walk into a room and that she had presence about her and always dressed well. But this lady here, I feel is closer to you. She's showing me a trip, skiing trip to I don't go skiing either, to the lake, let's see, like a vale. Come on, spirit. Lake Tosa. Would you understand anything about a near lake, skiing in a lake? Would you understand that?
oh, I
This
understand
person.
what they're referencing.
Okay, thank you. This is kind of, and what do you want? Okay. I'm like, what do you, as soon as I thought, like, what do you want? Like with, why are you coming forward? She wants, and immediately she's sharing that like there's her internal struggles, managing finance, whose responsibility. I'm stepping up to the plate. And being this is a public forum, I'm trying to be very private and not say and point fingers. Would you understand that, Tamara? I don't
Yes,
want to point fingers. I'm
yes,
just,
I'm
okay,
understanding all of this. Yes,
okay. Because I don't want to, I know who it is, but I'm not going to share who that is.
okay.
But it's a personal struggle that the person's not stepping up to the plate.
So the
And
person's not stepping up to the plate?
it's they're not because it falls on the other person. They're doing a lot of the stuff, and that person wishes the other person would step up to the plate, would help and assist. Would you understand that?
I'm not sure. I have to think about that.
Okay. And okay, I'm trying to be very not direct because I realize this is a but it's around you, Tamara. It's around you and you having to do a lot of the work.
That is true.
And okay, so this is what I'm referring to, and I'm going to leave it at that. And I don't want to step any more to that. Spirit wants to understand this spirit, and I feel the essence is your mother, but it was like sort of distant. And she wants to acknowledge all the work that you've done because she wasn't able to express that. And I always feel like there is a distance between both of you.
True.
And I feel that she was caught up in a lot of stuff and like in her head, and she couldn't get away from that. And partly is that she knew her wrongs, but it was hard for her to communicate that, meaning, ooh, she would have played favoritism, which I understand that.
Yes.
Thank you. And with that, she knows it was wrong, but with her, and I'm getting chills, it's that she didn't know how to express that, especially at the end of her life. It's sort of like it sat with her and it was like really heavy. And every time she would say something, it's like she would stumble on her words or she couldn't express herself the way she would like to express herself. And she wants to apologize for that. And it's like she appreciates like this platform to be able to do that. And using this because she understands, especially now, that our energy never dies, and that this is her way of coming through to share with you, Tamara, that she's always loved you. It was interesting how she would not be able to express that so freely. And in the latter part of her life, it's her efforts weren't enough to express that. It wasn't enough, and it wasn't enough to express the love that she had for you. She didn't have enough time. That's what I feel like. It sort of ran out. And and as I said that, it's sort of like she pushed back.
Mhm.
I'll leave your mother's love with you.
Wow, Joanne, that was absolutely amazing. Really, really amazing. Um, she came in differently, I think, she, um, because your energies are such that you're able to bring her in, um, pretty clearly. So she came in differently, I think, in order not to get in your head. And
Yes.
she was describing me actually in the beginning. So,
Okay.
and I didn't want to say, well, she just got, me.
Yes,
And
no,
that's why
no,
I
no. I'm
said
glad you
the
didn't.
person's living, because I didn't want to get in your head, so I was
Yes,
trying to
thank you.
really
Thank you
keep
for
it.
that.
But yeah, interesting about a lake and then skiing. And so I think she's referring to Lake Tahoe, where um, very near there, two of her granddaughters live. And
Okay, because
so,
I felt like a trip, but I didn't mention that because she wanted to mention something. Because I'm like, what about that? Because I was asking her questions, so she was throwing something at me, but that's not what she really wanted. She wanted to really deliver a message. Yeah.
okay. Yeah, it was interesting because, that's because skiing is there, plus there's a lake and because they live there. So at first I thought, oh, maybe she's talking about things going on there financially. And
Mm.
I'm not sure. It could be. Um, but with internal struggles, but also like that I'm having to do a lot of work. And it's true. I am, because I'm so concerned about, the world as it is right now and what's happening, and just feeling like it's falling on me to make sure everybody's going to be okay. And so I can totally relate to that. I've lost a lot of sleep on it. So, and then let's see, distance for sure. And it's really interesting that, coming in now to, I'm just reading because I wrote everything down, that and I love hearing that she understands now that our energy never dies, because I would tell her about our group and then she'd like she understood, and then the next time I saw her, which when I'm here would see her every day, she'd say, now what do you do again? And she kind of, and then apparently I just learned from a reading I did for somebody this week who's in the area here, who's a friend of my mother's. She said, your mother told me that she's the one who told me about you, but she just said, out of the blue, my daughter talks to dead people, like totally out of the blue. And so I'm not sure how much she just never really totally understood it. So I love, love, love that she understands now about energy never dies, and that she knows she can come in and, express herself in a way she couldn't when she was here.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a beautiful reading, Joanne, and I really appreciate it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Oh my gosh, that was incredible, Joanne. And there's so many things that we could talk about on that reading. And actually, for the first time, I'm actually on the fence about what we should discuss with our YouTube audience. What do you guys think was the best point of that reading? And let's go down that road.
I think it was interesting the way spirits, it's so funny. Even calling them spirits is always feels so funny, because it just feels like, they're really alive. They're not. I don't talk to dead people. They're alive. They're just somewhere else.
Right.
But so I think it's really interesting the way they come in and work differently. Different times. Like, instead of coming in and showing about themselves, in this case, they came in and they show, and we've all had those readings where they come in and they're talking about the person for whom the message is for, or will be, directed to. And so I thought that's interesting the way they do that.
Well, and and talking about that reading could have turned out completely different had you not been open-minded enough to understand that. Okay, because you could have closed your mind and you could have said, I don't know anybody like that in spirit.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but you actually said, she's talking about me. And so that's a good point, Tammy. Okay, because
she didn't say that. She said this person was alive. And
Tammy
that's
said
what I said.
Yeah,
I said,
that's all she
Tammy
said, and left it at that. Yes, and I love that.
Yeah, but what happens if you don't? What happens if your sitter doesn't say that? And the sitter could say, I don't know anybody like that in spirit. And, they would have missed out on that absolutely beautiful communication there.
But I really do believe, because we're practicing mediums and this is what we do, all the little like nuances of what we do. I see a mother, she's this, she has this description, the name, being that we work with one another so much, we already know that. Because we worked with one another so much. That's what I feel. So they come in a different way entirely. So we're challenged so that we're able to deliver the message. Because if she were to come in, I know what your mother was a gorgeous woman, just like you are, Tammy. Very
that's sweet. Thank you.
And, that's why she comes in. And there's an essence of her, because I've connected with her before.
Yeah.
So I'm always like, come a different way if you're going to come in, because I don't want to get in my head. But sometimes I'll see them very clearly. But today I didn't. I just saw this prop.
Yeah, interesting. Well, I understand what you're saying, though, and it means that our recipients and the viewers out there who are going to have readings, need to think about this and be more open, like to that could be what's going on. So if it's resonating that you're that person, think about that because, they may be talking about you, the person that's coming in. So to be more receptive to how they're going to read.
Being open. Yes. Not
Open.
being
Yeah.
Yeah. Not feeding the medium, but being open to receiving information. Yes.
I'm so tempted to say her name. Should I say her name?
No, don't say.
Okay. Okay.
Save it for another.
Okay.
We'll see if we can bring it up.
Hopefully she'll give it to me if she comes in again.
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
Let's set that intention. Let's put it at Mom.
Yeah.
Next time.
Give us your name.
Yes. Give your name.
And see if she does. That's funny. But I'm going to go back actually and strip that back to the basics then. Okay. Because and let's say this is for like a very beginning medium's point of view. Okay. And Joanne, you use the term, I'm in my head a lot of times. Okay. And can you imagine like how traumatic this would have been for a beginning medium had you been the beginning medium and Tammy had not had the foresight to say that information applies to a living spirit or a living person? A living spirit.
Yeah, we're all spirits, aren't we?
We learn how to deal with the no's, right? No, no, no. And then something will land or we'll realize, okay, that was not good. What went wrong there? And then eventually, I know for myself, you start building trust within yourself, knowing that the evidence that spirit brings forth, they're bringing it, don't question it. It's, it is evidence. So you learn that. First you hear the no's, right? And you're like, oh my goodness. And then it's sort of like, okay, I got to trust this.
Yeah.
And if they can't accept that or understand all of it, we know as mediums, okay, give me something else.
Yeah. Or the other thing to that is that what I've done to spirit, like in the case that Joanne is talking about, I've gone to spirit and said, Spirit, I'm just not getting this information. I'm a dummy. Can you give it to me another way? Okay. And spirit will actually try to present it in a different format for me, but it's like watching kind of like a big game of charades, sounds like, okay, and then you have to figure it out. And sometimes, the human brain just doesn't pick it up and you have to ask for that information in a different way, or ask the spirit to move on to something else. Okay. But spirit never gives you bad information. Okay.
True. Yeah. Sometimes I find too, if you don't understand it and you kind of sit with it, I know none of us like those long pauses, but sometimes, waiting a little bit, then they bring in something that relates to that helps clarify what that is.
And I want to point to that is because that's basically my style of reading. And I was told that one time, like, I won't name who, I started, it was a platform reading. I raised my hand, I started, and then giving information, then there was a pause. And then I was told, oh, you're in your head. I'm like, well, now I am. And I'm like, I totally got in my head as soon as that person said that. And I realized that we all have different styles of reading, and we're not going to be that person. Even that mentor style is completely different than mine. And so it's okay to be silent. Doesn't mean we're going psychic. It means that we're trying to listen to what spirit has to give us, the information.
Right.
Yeah.
I agree. Totally.
Yeah.
I worked with somebody, also won't say who, actually, the person was fabulous, but who said, the minute you pause for, I don't know, she said, you've lost them. And it's like, oh no, keep talking. Even if it's rubbish.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was like, that's kind of, I don't know. It's not working for me so much.
I can't see that because, in my experience, there are some spirits who are so laid back. They don't deliver information rapid fire in real life. They're very laid back in the way they talked in real life, and they're that way in spirit.
That's right.
So seen those pauses, and I look at that as being evidence, not being in your head, you know.
True.
Geez.
Yeah, I've learned that. Yes. And I think I just had, I don't know, a few months ago, this person had mental health issues, and the reading was so bizarre. Like I couldn't, it was all over and then they later shared, you did a great job, and this is the reason why you had a problem.
Oh, wow.
No kidding. Okay.
Yeah, because I
Okay.
couldn't like it was I felt like I wasn't landing on anything. It was here, there, everywhere. And I was just delivering all the information they were giving, but it wasn't fluid and it didn't make any sense to
Yeah.
me. And yeah, it was, yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm
Okay.
like, oh, that's another, developing my mediumship to understand
Cool.
that happens when someone has, in this lifetime, a mental health issue. And only the
Yeah.
sitter would know that. Like they would understand the rambling or just sporadic whatever
Right.
and then
Right.
deliver it. Yes.
Well, I mean, imagine you're at I don't know, call it a cocktail party or a gathering or whatever, and you've just met somebody and you're having this conversation. Well, if they stop to think for a minute, being like the spirit, you wouldn't just start another conversation or mow right over them and like keep saying, well, and what books do you like? And what restaurant, what kind of food do you, I mean, they think you're out of your mind,
Yeah.
so you don't do that in a reading either,
Right.
so.
Exactly.
Because it's really kind of like it's an exchange, it
Yeah.
really is an exchange. And you wouldn't do that in this life,
You
Yeah.
hope you
Yeah.
wouldn't anyway,
Right,
but
right,
yeah,
right.
yeah. Jeez. All right. Well, that's a
Wow.
good experience there.
Mm.
Okay, Tammy, are you feeling
Oh
anything?
gosh, let me see. I did have somebody who popped in here. Let me just see. Okay. I have somebody here who I'm feeling very much like there's a T around this person's name, maybe even a Tracy, but it just feels like kind of a T. And I'm feeling very much like I'm out gardening, and I'm feeling that I really, when I'm with this person, this is a woman, and I feel that she isn't a direct family member, but I feel that she somehow was somewhat close to the family and somehow fitting in maybe on the paternal side, but that's been kind of a little wonky lately about which side they're coming from. So, but I do feel that while she's not a direct family member, she's would be close. She was close to the family. And I'm feeling very much with her that she really liked flowers, that she liked being out in the dirt. It was some very meditative for her. And it's something that was really close to her heart, and especially flowers. And she's also shows me being in a place where she's picking flowers. So, let me just ask both of you, if this, I know it's not a whole lot of information yet, but does somebody come to mind who would fit this?
Tamara, I'm listening.
Okay, thank you, Joanne. May I work with you? Okay, thank you. So, she also shows me it's a really nice feeling with her because she feels very like earth mothery, and shows me that she would have liked to set a nice table. And I feel like it wouldn't be as important for it to be a fancy table as a table that feels welcoming, but that, is an attractive table, but it's more important that it feels welcoming and feels kind of homey-ish. Yet I say homey-ish, but I feel like we're also outside. I feel like it's feeling like if she didn't do this, that she would have liked um, like an outside meal, and setting that table so that it had a very natural feel to it outside, much like European countries do.
Mhm.
That's the feeling I have. So would you understand that with this person as well?
Yes, she's describing someone who's alive.
She is. Oh, that's our lesson for today. Okay. 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 All right. So yes. So oh, that's interesting. She's suddenly I'm suddenly being shown a neighbor from when I was growing up. And so I'm imagining that there are a lot of traits to the person who's here showing me these images and these memories must resemble this person. So, excuse me. So if that's the case, I'm just going to explore that. I would imagine that the person coming through showing this image was attractive,
Mhm.
very attractive.
Mhm.
Had a nice figure, kind of kept herself and looking good for the man in her life. And she would have had a son.
Mhm.
Okay. Definitely a son and a daughter.
Yes, correct.
Okay. And which is really interesting because this is my neighbor. She was a mother of kids I grew up with.
Mhm.
And she actually had dark, short hair.
Yes.
So, okay.
Yes.
Okay. So that's really, and sewed a lot. This
Okay.
woman sewed.
I didn't know that, but okay.
Did this woman sew as well, or you don't know that?
Don't know that.
You don't know that. Okay.
No. But I
Um,
think I don't know. I gotta ask, but I can ask.
okay, okay.
Mhm.
So just in for kind of curiosity, would this have been a neighbor? Is that why I'm being shown my neighbor?
Okay. Yes, at one time, but they're close, like family, but they're not family.
That's so fascinating. Okay, because I described they were close to the family, but also I was being shown my neighbor.
Yes.
So that's awesome. Um, let's see, bear with me for just a minute here. Would you also understand that she wouldn't have had a career outside the home? That she probably did, some volunteer work, but that she wouldn't have had, a regular kind of 9 to 5
She
job.
she did.
She did.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Because I'm
But it
going on.
wasn't but it wasn't a regular job, let's put it that way, but she did work.
She worked. Okay. Um, because I was going to say, I can't remember if I did say already charity work, but
But she was very charitable. Very.
okay. Okay. So yeah, because she did charitable work. Okay. So I think that's probably enough with my neighbor, although I am also being shown, this is really cute because she's suddenly going, don't forget the pearls. So she's showing me pearls, which I would then say that she probably wore pearls, but also for me, that means she was very traditional.
Yes. Yes.
So very traditional. And she's saying now she's starting to talk more rather than show me things. Um, she said she was the one who made things work.
Mm.
And it's really interesting because of the message you just gave me. So that feels like another theme today. So making things work and that she made things work. And she's saying tick tock, tick tock. The clock was always ticking and that she always had a lot to do. And I'm understanding she was very organized because she said, I always had a lot to do. And so she was very aware of her time and how much she needed to spend on certain things because she was a busy person. She said, I worked here, I worked there, I worked everywhere. I did lots of things. Oh, we've lost Carol.
Oh,
She,
I am now the host.
okay, let's unlock the room. Oh, there she's back. Okay, good. Okay. Let's see how she does. Let's see, what was I just going to say? Oh, we lost you. Okay, so this is a good test too. Let's see. Let me see if we maintain our connection. Um, she's saying that she could be the life of the party or she could be very quiet.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
Okay. It just depended on her mood and also that she was very good, she says, at reading the room.
Mm.
She's a very describing herself as a very good observer, so that when she could read a room, that she was very good at, that was one of her intelligences, that when people, understand people, and so she was probably very empathic. She says that she really didn't have time for like walking and exercise and things like that. So she just feels that she was very fortunate that she was able to, stay looking pretty good without that, but also feels that she expended a lot of energy just from kind of doing. And okay. She said, I read, but I really didn't have time for that either. So it does sound like she was, a busy woman. And she says she loved having people over. She said that was one of my favorite things.
Yeah.
That was the thing that went straight to my heart, she says. And there's just this very warm feeling with her when just about how she feels about giving to people in this way. It's a really, really lovely feeling. Wow, this is really interesting. She said, I want you to know how much I sacrificed, how much I really sacrificed. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, I can see that.
Okay. And she said, women do, and thank goodness that's changing. There are so many things I could have said and done, she says. I'm realizing we've lost our clock. So I'll just let her keep going, and then I probably have a couple of more minutes. That said, she really loved her family. It was a sacrifice she was willing to give. Yes, and she just keeps going back to giving me this feeling of, entertain. And I used to really enjoy entertaining as well. And so she's giving me that same feeling of, readying things for people, and just that feeling of having them there, and feeling like they're having a nice time, and making sure they've got everything they need. And she's giving me that feeling, that it's such a nice feeling. And that she was very comfortable with people kind of pitching in too. Like she wasn't, no, 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 stay there, I'll go do it. She was like, yeah, people would get up and maybe help clear or do that, and that she liked that and appreciated it, and it just made it even feel um more together and more family friendly and less formal. And she's coming in today. To say what a beautiful woman you are and how proud she is of you, how lucky she was to have you in her life. I'm feeling, could this be your mother-in-law?
No,
It's not. Okay.
I'll tell you who it is. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. She watches you work and she marvels.
Mm.
And she says, I can just see that you're just this, I can see that you are just this beautiful creature. And I want to leave you with all of my love and support.
Mhm.
And so I'll leave you with that, Joanne. And the tea, I forgot to ask is there a tea around her?
No, I was trying to no.
No,
I was trying to
that's
think.
okay. That's okay.
Um, so
Oh,
that
I just Maria came in too. So Maria,
oh my
Maria,
goodness,
Maria.
that was a major yes.
Okay, she goes, Maria, Maria, Maria. It's like, okay.
Say it.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Now that was definitely like what do they call it? A golden nugget right there.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Because I knew in my heart who it was, and I'm thinking, why had you? Okay, so this is a family. She's like family to our family, and my sister was like her daughter. She treated my
Oh.
sister Maria like her daughter,
Oh, oh my gosh.
like it was her daughter. She always said she had two daughters.
Oh, wow.
Daughter, and I got chills when I said that. And so you're talking about Doña Belta. She used to own a grocery store in our hometown. And she had so many godchildren, it was ridiculous because
Wow.
everybody felt like she did really well financially. Everyone, like she had so many, but she really uh, took on my brother as her son. Basically, she was my brother's godmother, godparents, but they took him like it was one of their own, and my sister.
Wow.
Everyone, she loved people. She would nurture them. People would come by. Yeah, everything like you described. She was very welcoming, loved seeing people. She was the sweetest thing. And she was the sweetest thing and closest when I had lost her a few years ago. It was like losing a part of my mom. And my sister felt the same.
Oh, wow.
Her spirit was, and they were friends. She was really close to
Okay.
my mom. And so when she had passed it, my sister and I felt it, especially my sister who like she was always around them. But it was like losing my mom all over again.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Because her essence was similar to my mother's. It's very giving and nurturing and welcoming and just all that what you described. Yeah.
Wow, she was really just lovely.
Yeah, and she was beautiful. She had blue eyes. She had short dark hair, and I think that there's a picture of pearls. But yeah, that she
Yeah,
had.
okay.
Yeah, I have to ask my sister. Yeah. Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Sure, sure,
And
sure.
I don't know if this is probably maybe her second time that I'm thinking that she's come through.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. And the flowers, because
The
she,
flowers, yeah, she loved the flowers, and I would go to visit. So she because they moved here, and she would always show me flowers. But I
okay.
also do the same thing. But yeah, and she would show me her little garden. But she had a larger garden when she had her home in another place. Um, yes, and I was too young because I'm the youngest of my family, so I didn't get to experience if she had done that. Like, but I know that I love doing that.
Okay. Yeah.
When she was describing the very beginning, I'm like, yeah, yeah, but I can understand that. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's the theme for today. So look out, Carol.
I know. Geez, great.
We're on to them.
Oh my gosh, that's funny. Well, I'm
Wow.
sorry to say that my internet got a little unstable here because we had a deep freeze in this area last night. We actually have a widespread power outage
Oh,
that they're
wow.
working to fix, and I think they just like disconnected me and reconnected me was what happened. So unfortunately, I missed a lot
Yeah.
at the beginning of this reading, so I have to rely on you two to kind of like pick out the best elements of this and see what it is that we need to explain to our YouTube audience, if that's all right.
Well, I think it's interesting how, just like with Tamara, and I'm so glad that she set the precedent and how to answer that question if it's if the information pertains to you, to not let the medium know that it is you or someone else you know around you by saying that person is living. Doesn't mean that you're doing it psychically or having a psychic reading, but you're letting the medium know that you understand the information. So
Mhm.
that way you're not impeding the reading,
Mhm.
and you're just allowing the medium to deliver the information and acknowledging it. That's how I feel.
Great.
Yeah.
I'm going to throw a question out here. Okay. For the beginners here, okay, I'm talking about the difference between psychic and mediumship, and how do you know? Okay, and I'll throw this question out to you, Joanne, first of all. Okay, so if that had been a psychic reading,
Hmm.
how, considering that there was a living person involved, how do you think the reading would have went psychically? What would the information look
I think
like?
for me, it's easy. For me, it's easy, like sometimes to do psychic because you're not having to raise your vibration and you're just reading into the energy of the person. So, for instance, when I'm talking and psychically, it happens to me all the time. They'll have a conversation. I'll tell them, oh, they have blonde hair and blue eyes. Oh, yeah. How do you know that? I'm just picking up on information that they're talking about all the time. And psychically, when we're reading their energy in their field, as opposed to connecting with spirit. I know for myself, I have to, it's sort of, it's entirely different. Psychically, sort of, you're just reading into people's energy. And I do, when I'm asked to, I don't do it all the time. I can do it easily and it's different. I don't know if you like, I feel like I'm channeling more when I'm connected to spirit. I'm waiting for them to give me the information as opposed to me feeling the information
Mhm.
and then seeing what's out there. I have a friend and I we do it all the time. She's a really great psychic, and she's like she'll call me up and I'll be able to tell her a lot of things that are happening around our world. And it's just validation, and as practicing mediums, and we're also psychic, it's just validation, having that conversation, and it just comes out. I don't even know that I'm doing it. At one point I'm just it just comes out naturally. A lot of people will think like, how do you know that?
Mhm. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'll kick it over to Tammy then and ask you the same question. Okay. Had that reading been truly psychic, how do you think that would have looked? How would the information differ?
Well, the one thing I truly have understood and believe myself is that the readings we do, the mediumship readings we do dovetail here and there into psychic.
Yeah.
That it's a combination.
Great.
And so
Great.
it's not strictly, and also I'm believe in the thought that it doesn't matter if it's, you don't have to be, oh my gosh, it's 100% mediumship, or are you like cheating because you're psychic? And I think that I've always thought that was kind of, I don't know, just kind of amusing because I think that the way our minds work, it's also fluid. And so some of it
Yeah.
might go in to it's like that great activity that our viewers can try too. You choose a tarot card, you look at it very briefly, put it down, and it can be your psychic awareness that kicks into the mediumship. And then somebody will come in and it's a complete mediumship reading that can be validated with the evidence, yet it was kicked off psychically. And so I do think that you sometimes weave, you can weave in and out. But I
Oh,
think,
yeah. I'm sorry.
yeah, but I think like for me, what happens is it starts once I know that now we're communicating telepathically and I'm really kind of just repeating their words, then I know there's no psychic awareness happening at all in there. It's just it's like a direct, well, as direct a communication as you can have, from here to there, wherever, So
I don't know how you do your readings. Typically I connect with spirit first, and then I drop down to psychic if they want information. What do you, So it's like, what do you want to know about your world without spirit? I can do that as well. So
Well, and I'm glad you brought
Yeah.
that up because that was a point that I was going to bring up because there's actually two ways to get to this space. Okay. And one is to start to make a psychic connection to your sitter. Okay. And then once you've established that you have a psychic connection with that sitter, you can work your energy up to get to the mediumship level. And personally, I've always found that harder to do to go up. Okay.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
generally
can be.
start on the mediumship side.
Mhm.
And then, like Tammy said, you will dip into psychic periodically for certain things, and the two kind of support each other.
Mhm, mhm.
Yeah, yeah. I would agree. Mine starts that way too, Joanne. Like it starts with, I'm usually shown, something. I mean, I'm shown an image or, I
Mhm.
mean, lately they've also dropped in, which I absolutely love. I'm just putting that out there to the spirit world where they say like, hi, I'm Ronnie. I play the guitar. I'm Ronald. I'm guitar playing Ronald and so it's like, and I love it when they do that,
Yes,
and
yes. I would love names.
Yeah, yeah.
Although I
Oh,
got a name and I didn't know, and I always know the relationship, but I got the name, but I didn't know the relationship. I'm like, man, it was weird. But yeah, I'd like to have both.
yeah.
yeah. Oh, geez. Yeah.
But anyway, I think it's just having fun with it and understanding. Because, okay, so let me go back to that. So
Yeah.
sometimes I know that it's so like delicate that sometimes when I'm
Mhm.
giving a psychic reading, it feels like mediumistically. So I get the information, I get the image just like I do with spirit, but I do know that I really have to quiet my mind in order to connect with spirit. With psychic,
Mhm.
I'm just feeling into their energy and being able to even talk with them
Mhm.
and get information. So if they're caught talking to me, I can give them information. So it's different for me anyway. So I have to quiet my mind in order for me to listen to them, as opposed to psychically when I'm gonna be talking to a person straight out in a conversation, and then I'll start getting information. Does that make sense?
I think that's the best point of the day right there. Okay. And I'm going to take it to the next level and say, like, if you start with basic intuition, like gut feeling that you have about somebody, like you're looking at something and you just mentally say, there's something I don't like about that guy, but I don't know what it is. Okay. That's like the lowest level of intuition is that gut feeling. Okay. And then when you move that vibration up, you can get psychic feelings about that guy. And then all of a sudden, you might be picking up without even talking to him that he's not a guy who is kind to women. Okay, something like this. Okay. But then, as Joanne identified, you definitely have to block out all of the garbage that goes on in your mind to be able to receive information on a mediumistic level.
True.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that takes practice, it takes an awful lot of practice. So, but thank you for defining that, Joanne, because I think that was really important.
That's why
So,
I always refer, I don't want to get in my head.
yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but you explained the difference though this time, I mean, that's what was good. So, all right, I'm going to see if I can grab a spirit here. Let me set up a timer and got the timer back now. I want to see who's pops in here. Hmm. Right. This one might be harder to identify because this is a man who feels farther out. I don't feel like he is family. And I'm going to go so far as to say I don't even think he might be in the quote friend tier. Okay. I think he's pretty far out there, but what makes him memorable is his body. Because for a male, he's short, but he has an extremely powerful build, almost as if he like lifted weights and took steroids while doing it. He just has very broad shoulders. And when I look at this guy, and this is funny because this goes back to the intuition that we were talking about. When I look at this guy, he scares me a little bit. This is my reaction to this guy when I look at this build and his face. And I think my sitter would have reacted the same way when she saw this man. So I'll stop and ask if this is resonating with either of you yet. If not, I'm going to just go on. So,
Well, I can understand the short and kind of the build and steroids and concern around this person.
okay. So thank you, Tammy. And then I'll go back to the theme of the day and ask, does this guy happen to be living?
I'm pretty sure he's passed.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so. I think so.
Okay. All right. So let me lean into this man.
It's been a long time. It's been a long.
This is very far out there and I can feel it.
Yeah.
But he's such a distinctive fellow that I want to work with him. And he feels to me like this is odd. I am seeing him outdoors in a parking lot. Does that make any sense to you? I don't know that it's relevant, but it's
Yeah, I don't know.
okay.
I know some things about him, but not a whole lot.
Okay. All right. I'm going to set the parking lot aside and see what I can find out more about him. Okay. I feel like yeah, in addition to the steroids, okay, I also feel like there was like a substance abuse of another sort. Would you
I
know?
believe so. I believe so.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. That's interesting because normally I don't get those people because I don't know much about that world, and spirit like generally picks the right medium for the job. So I am thinking that there has to be something here that spirit wants me to communicate to Tammy. Would you be aware that there was sort of a criminal connection with this man?
There might very well have been.
Okay. All right.
I believe so. I'm like
Okay.
90% sure. Yeah.
Okay. All right. And I want to say that this is, as far as crime goes, more on the low level side.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Involving like physical things and intimidation more than shall we say, ripping off millions of dollars. So definitely not a white collar criminal. Okay, and for our YouTube audience, I'm trying to figure out what the Tammy's connection is to this man because full and fair disclosure, I know some things about Tammy and having this guy pop up in her universe does not fit Tammy that I know. So this is weird. But let me lean into him and see if I can figure out how he knows her. Okay, And first of all, I see a man in between you. Would there be a man that you knew who was closer to him than you were? That makes sense.
Um, yeah, yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
All right. So Tammy's involved on the periphery of this. All right. This is odd. I feel like he is somehow involved in like either security or policing or being responsible for a premises. Would that make sense to you?
I don't know.
Don't know? Okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
All right. Give me something Tammy would know. I asked for that. I just came back and I heard weightlifter. Okay. So it did work out. Uh, would he have been, would you have known him to be around a body of water, like frequent an area where there was a body of water around him?
There would have been a body of water near him.
Okay. He's showing me being on this body of water. He's actually calling it a harbor, okay, which is kind of a specific term for a body of water. Um,
That I don't know about that.
okay. All
Yeah.
right. But he's showing me being around the body of water. But what is unique about this is that he's showing me being there at night
Oh, interesting. Okay.
rather than the daytime. Okay.
Okay.
Um, and that's kind of important because you know, that can violate Coast Guard rules, or there's more complicated things with running boats at nights, this kind of thing. And but he's showing me being on this body of water at night. Uh, he just showed me kind of like a startling visual. Okay, and he's showing me grabbing a female by the wrist and pulling her like this. Okay, and she does not want to go. Would
Mhm.
you understand that at all?
I I could imagine that.
Okay. Um, let's see where this is. Would you know if he spent time in jail?
I don't know.
Don't know. Okay. All right. Tell me something Tammy knows. Okay. And when I ask him to show me something that you know, he's showing me himself standing at the back of one of those box trucks that has the uh what do you call it? The door that slides up and down like this. Would
Huh.
you have known him to be around that kind of truck?
I yeah, I just I don't know.
Don't remember. Okay.
Uh-uh.
All right. Yeah, this is for the benefit of our YouTube audience. This is a more difficult reading because Tammy just did not know a lot about this guy. And I'm kind of struggling to find information that Tammy would know about him, which is not a whole lot. Plus, he wants to talk about other things going on in his lifetime. And so I'm picking up kind of like a combination of information here. But I'm just going to go and see if I can get a message from this guy. Okay. And so this message, first of all, you would have been aware that this man watched you. Okay, without saying things to you, but he watched you. Would that make sense to you?
Maybe
Okay.
that could have been.
Okay. All right. Because he's talking about watching you. Okay. And he's saying that you were always above other women, okay, in his terminology. Okay, so when you look at like the kind of women who were in his world, um, you would have been one that he would have looked at as being unattainable. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So I think his message here is just one of admiration for you. Okay. Um, and in his own way, I think he's kind of telling you that, he thought that you were out of his league. Okay. Otherwise, he would have made a play for you. Okay. And I'm going to leave you that with light and love. And thanks for letting me serve spirit.
That
So,
was really interesting, Carol. Because I think he tried to come in another time recently in a
no
group.
kidding.
I
No
felt
kidding.
like it, I felt certainly he came to mind. And then it turned out it was somebody else, like took the message, was able to take the reading and take more of it. But I was like, gosh, I wonder if and I actually don't remember his first name. I remember his last name. But do you want me to tell you how I know him?
If you don't mind. Yeah, I
Yeah,
was,
he was a
I,
neighbor. He was a neighbor in my
neighbor.
neighborhood.
Ooh,
And he was a
okay.
neighbor in my neighborhood, and he had severe asthma. So he had to take steroids, which affected his
Oh,
growth. And
oh,
so
gosh.
he was always like, this smaller person. And he
Mhm.
had this brother, older brother, who was this good looking guy, big kind of guy. So that might have been the guy that was in between the
Okay.
two. And
Okay.
I remember his brother like calling my sister and saying things that, like were inappropriate. And to my father, like dealt with that, got on the phone, called the parents or whatever. And, but he, so that's how I know him. And we had a neighborhood pool. So that would have been one body of water. But um, let's see. I remember hearing that he was getting into a lot of trouble, and I knew and I definitely remember hearing that he was also doing drugs. So
Okay.
that I know is true. And I know he definitely had some criminal stuff, but it was low, you know,
Mhm.
I don't know what it was. And so, and you said the man who was closer to him than I was. So, that would have been his brother. Um, Pulling a female by the arm. He started to get kind of aggressive, like,
Yeah.
I,
She did
I mean,
not want to go.
yeah,
Yeah.
he really started to get like when he was younger, he was just kind of this sweet guy. And then as he got older, it's like he got more and more aggressive. So I could imagine that doing that and then them saying, stop, leave me alone. I can really imagine that. And I also wonder about the harbor at night because my understanding is he took his own life ultimately.
Okay.
So that made me wonder because I don't remember how that was done. And, um, so,
Okay.
it's interesting, like knowing what you know about me when you were saying you can't imagine him in my hemisphere.
Nope.
3 people from my neighborhood, like young people, committed suicide.
Oh gosh. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Oh.
And it wasn't a huge neighborhood. I mean, there were like, I don't know, 5 or 6 streets, it was a development. So that's kind of a high number.
Mhm. Wow.
So, yeah.
Well, my sense with him was is that he was kind of fixated on you in a way that uh, today we would probably consider a little inappropriate.
Yeah,
You know.
I felt uneasy. Like at
Yeah.
first I thought
Yeah.
he was really nice. And then as he got older, I felt very uneasy around him. And I was like, really tried to make sure I like stayed away from him. So yeah,
Okay.
it's really interesting for him to come in. I mean, I want to say that's awesome that, that he came in and because I really felt like he was like recently, I'm like, that seems like, why am I feeling, I haven't thought about him. And, I mean, I was Geez, I wasn't even a teenager, I don't think. Maybe a young,
Yeah,
by that time,
yeah,
maybe I probably didn't see him anymore after like 13 or, I don't know what, but yeah,
yeah.
he was right around my age, a little bit older, maybe.
I want
Okay.
to ask Carol, being that
Y-
we're demonstrating for other beginner mediums. When you started being that you're advanced medium, and to stick with it, when you get an information that the sitter is questioning, no, I don't know anything about them, what do you tell yourself and how do you tell to help yourself to move forward with that information? Because I know in the very beginning, I would like, oh, okay, I'm going to stop right there. I need someone else because I need that validation. So how
Oh,
are you able to move past that?
that may be like a personality difference between us. Okay.
No, but what
Um,
I'm saying in general, there's a
yeah,
lot of me, I see it, I
yeah,
witnessed it. Like they're like,
yeah,
okay, okay, you can't understand this, then, and then I've had other mediums. Well, I just want to be able to connect with whomever. Give me a name. Like,
yeah,
you know
yeah.
what I mean? Because they want to make sure that they're connected with someone that you know. So how do you
Okay.
work through that?
Well, my personality, even
Uh-huh.
outside of mediumship, is that I'm a pretty confident person.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so in some respects, that has to do with my own personality. So if a sitter says to me, "I have no idea what you're talking about," I just say, "Okay, well, let me go on, and we'll see what this is about." And then I do that in part because these stories that they tell us are so fascinating to me. And I really get wrapped up in the stories and I want to learn more about them. And so instinctively, I go back and I say, "Tell me more, tell me more. I want to know more about you." Okay. And then they will come in and they will give me more information like that.
Mhm.
Okay. But like in the case of this guy that I brought in for Tammy, this was harder because he was further out in Tammy's
Oh.
social circle, shall we
Mhm.
say? Okay, because when you're sitting with a medium, I think you tend to think right away of your family. Okay, you have a very limited view. Maybe a friend. Okay, if you have a friend who has crossed over. Okay, but you're not thinking about those people who you knew at one point in your life,
Hmm.
and then you haven't seen them for 40 years. But
Mhm.
those people will still come in. Okay. And how long has it been since you've seen these
Oh,
people?
it's been, I'm no spring chicken. So, I was a teenager,
Mhm.
probably
Okay.
13 since I've
Yeah.
seen him, and that's been a few years.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
But those people are out there and they will come to you in a mediumship setting if they have something that they want to say. Okay. And you know, and in this case, this particular guy was apparently sweet on Tammy, when they were children, okay, or possibly older. I don't know. Okay. But he was sweet on Tammy and
Mhm.
just wanted to
So,
relay that from the other side. So,
yeah, yeah. Well, I know that you're confident. I mean, I think at
yeah,
one point, I
maybe
think
too
we
much.
have to get, no, I know that we have to build that confidence to get here because I wouldn't, I think I'm confident myself in my own way. I wouldn't be here if I wasn't, right?
Right. Yeah.
Um, but you stuck with it. And that's a key thing, though, just to share with
Mhm.
rather than
Mhm.
backing up. Because I know that at this point, Spirit gives me information. I'm just going to dive into it because it's important, right? Just stick with it, right? Even though I
Right.
don't know all the nuances or whatever. And we all deliver information differently, and how we are. You like the stories and you're getting all, well, give me some more, having that communication. But I've witnessed it where they're like, um, okay, give me someone else, like they want to start with someone else. So the whole
Mhm.
thing is just sticking with it because
Right.
the
Yeah.
more the practice that you stick with whomever shows up, it's just, you're just developing, trusting when you're receiving that information, right? Trusting, it's just trusting and not swaying from that, even though you're getting the no's, 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 right?
Well, and you just put me in mind of a reading that I did when I was first starting this, and it was no, 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 the whole way.
Oh
Okay.
my gosh,
And
wow.
I knew that I had a valid connection here. But what happened, I found out after the fact is that the sitter had lost her boyfriend. Okay. And she did not want to hear from anybody
Mhm.
except her boyfriend.
Mhm.
Okay. And this was kind of stupid because, first of all, the person that I brought in was a female. Okay. And so, obviously, this is not your boyfriend. You need to look at somebody other than your boyfriend. But it did not matter because the only person that she wanted to hear from was her boyfriend. Okay. And she could have saved us both a lot of grief. Okay. If she had just said, I'd like to see if you could connect to my boyfriend. Okay. And, it just wasn't out there. But, pretending that you have no other spirits except for that one is a waste of time, for both, the sitter and the medium.
Sure.
So,
Yeah, yeah. But as a medium, you have to be, understand that,
mhm.
especially when they've never had that experience,
Yeah.
to explain all that. When
Mm.
you come to me, it's not guaranteed the person you're gonna is gonna come forward. We can't guarantee that as
Right.
mediums. We obviously we do the prayer, we'll tell the sitter for the intention, and then there's ways of, obviously trying to bring them forward. But I like to pray, like, don't give me any information. Spirit knows best. And then I present that information. Like, but you said is that if it's not like exactly the way they know it, they're going to say no. And
Yep.
I've done that myself years ago where I went to this woman. She was a fabulous, phenomenal medium. And she was off just a little bit. And I said no. And then I realized later, oh, that was my brother. She could have told me
Um,
so much, and she was
Yeah.
so good. And I said no. And she said, don't make it fit. And that's the way she was like, don't make it fit. And I'm like, because she was off just by one thing.
oh
She
no.
described
Wow.
everything else,
Yeah.
and I didn't take it. And she said, you don't have to take it. She moved on, and but she was so good. And mm, to this day, I'm like,
Oh
oh,
my gosh.
yeah. So if you're getting, yeah, just be open and receptive, I
Yeah.
think the readings are, I find when the sitter is very open and receptive, they give an
Yes.
incredible reading
Yeah.
as
Oh,
opposed
yeah.
to, oh, you got to prove this to me. I don't have too many people like that because I'm like, I'm not here to prove anything. I know I'm connected to spirit. So, but there are people who, I don't know, that's my intention. Like, like, you have to know that, our spirit, there is spirit, our energy never dies. So anyway, that was a great demonstration, Carol, of sticking to it, even though,
Yeah. Yeah.
Thanks, Joanne. Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
even though, because I know for myself in the very beginning, it's like, no, can't
Nope.
read. Oh, I can't validate. Oh, God. So you're
Yeah.
still bringing forth the information, and they're like, oh, I can't verify
Well,
that.
that
Yeah,
information was very specific. Somebody who was very short, but like
yeah,
stocky, and then steroids. So it's like, oh my God, this can only be one person. I mean, he was
yes. But I
like
mean, later
his
on,
growth
like,
was stunted,
yeah,
like,
definitely you were
yeah.
able, that was very specific, and he wanted to let you know, but later on, like his life, like certain
Right.
things.
Yeah. There's no way I could know, but
Yeah,
yeah, which
yeah.
is some of it's pretty interesting, to think, oh, I wonder if that's how. So there was, I agree, like sticking with it like that, because they are coming in, they're making that effort to be there and be here, and so it'd be a shame just to say, okay, well, I don't have enough from you. Goodbye. That's just like
Yeah.
in life. If you were like that in life with people, gosh.
Hmm.
Well, and the other thing is too, for the benefit of our YouTube audience, who knows? Maybe 2 or 3 years from now, Tammy is going to run into somebody from her neighborhood, and maybe she and that friend will have a conversation, and Tammy will say, "Do you ever know what happened to this guy?" Okay, and that person that she's talking to may come in with a statement that says, oh, he ended up in jail a bunch of times, and give Tammy all of this information that Tammy didn't know today but she finds it out to be true later on. Okay. And
Yes.
that happens more than you
Mhm.
believe. Okay. That happens
Oh, yeah.
quite frequently. And when it does happen, that's just phenomenal because like in my case, that just makes my head spin because where'd that information come from? It can only come from one spot, and that's spirit.
Yeah.
Tammy doesn't know it. I sure as heck don't know it, So where did that
True.
information come from? And we find that happening all the time, information being verified after the fact. And it's the coolest thing that can happen in
It
media.
is. It is. And
Awesome.
given what they're capable of, and there's no time, there's no linear time, I could see them practically planning that. Like, I'm going to say this because right here, this person's going to be here, giving back that evidence, corroborating exactly what I've just said here. So they may be just going, oh, well, here's this, and that'll be fun for them,
And I want to go back to what Carol said. And this, so he said, I don't know if I'm the correct medium for this. And you were, because you stuck with it.
Yes. True.
Yeah.
Very
At the
true.
very beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really true.
Yeah, but it was funny because I was looking at that. I was thinking, this is really not the kind of person that, just because I really don't know enough about like shady activities to communicate them well.
Except
Shall we
for
say.
except for that mobster that came in.
Yeah,
Jimmy
that's true.
Hoffa.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is like spirit knows better than we do. Like they know
Yeah,
that
they
knowing
do.
you,
Yeah.
you would stick with it and deliver the information because you're very curious. You want to know the details. And so you were like, okay, feed me the details and I'll relay the information. And
Yeah.
even though she can't validate it, I'm going to still go ahead and do it. So he
Yeah.
knew that you'd the correct medium for all that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so true. It's such a good point, Joanne.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, ladies, this has been fun. Okay, but we're nearing the end of our time here. So I'm going to go ahead and close this down with a prayer. But before I do that, I just want to let our viewing audiences know that we will be back here next Saturday, same time, same channel. If you like what you've seen today, please hit like and subscribe. Okay. And if you do that, you'll actually be notified of our upcoming sessions as we put them on. And we hope you do that because we like to talk about all things mediumship. But in the meantime, I'm going to close this down with a prayer. If everyone would join me, please. Holy Father, Mother God, thank you for allowing us to come together today in service of spirit. Thank you for this gift of mediumship that you've given us and allow us to use this precious gift to help others who need your healing and love. Bless our friends and loved ones and protect them from sickness and harm. Bring joy into the lives of people who have sorrow, health into the lives of people who have illness, and abundance to the lives of people who have little. Thank you for the lessons that you've given us today, and help us to continue to build a relationship with you that is based on love and trust. And always, please help us to be the lights that change this world for the better. Amen. All right. Thanks again, and we hope to see you next week.